So this will be just a really quick introduction to photosynthesis. I am not going to go into the details of photosynthesis here because it is way too much for this sort of a video. I can link a couple of optional resources for you if you're really interested. But what you're seeing here is a typical plant. Again, we have roots, we have stems, we have leaves. And we've sort of danced around the idea of photosynthesis, and maybe you even know a little bit about photosynthesis. But I'm going to give you the general equation for photosynthesis. And that is that you take water plus carbon dioxide, which I'm going to put in its chemical equation, CO2, plus sunlight. So here we get energy from the sun. And normally we don't have down arrows, but I don't have enough space on the side here. But adding those three things together will make something called glucose, which is a type of carbohydrate. It's a simple sugar, and oxygen, O2, in the form of gas. We hear this concept of like we breathe in oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide, and plants breathe in carbon dioxide and breathe out oxygen. This is what it's referring to. It's referring to photosynthesis. They take in atmospheric carbon dioxide and they put into the atmosphere oxygen gas. That all is shown here, right? We have light from the sun. Photosynthesis happens in the leaves, right? And so that's why leaves are one of the first parts of plants to sort of come out of seedlings and seeds. Is they need this energy. This is how they get energy ultimately by processing this glucose themselves. Sunlight comes in. They use a pigment called chlorophyll to capture that sunlight. They take carbon dioxide from the air through their stomata. They take water that comes up through their roots. All right. So I'll put CO2 here, water here. All right. And there's parts of the plants in the leaves that do the process of photosynthesis. And at the end, we get glucose, which actually has the chemical formula C6H12O6, as well as oxygen. And frequently, this oxygen is just released out into the atmosphere. Right? So we're here releasing oxygen. And that glucose can then be used by the plant in a couple of different ways. They can use it for their own energy, for their own growth, to make more branches and leaves and stems, etc., and more roots, and they certainly will do that. But they also might store that energy somewhere, and that's really important for us. And this is why we cultivate plants in a garden or on a farm. They might use it to make flowers and then ultimately to make a fruit like a tomato shown in this plant. They might move it underground and store it somewhere there, like in a potato plant. Potatoes are starch storage locations, and starch is just a really big molecule that combines thousands of glucose molecules together. And so that's the role that photosynthesis plays in plants, and which matters for us.